What's something you've done that deserved credit but no one gave it to you? I wrote a Perl script that saved my company 10 million when the electric company dug up our data lines. We were able to continue production for 17 hours and keep the Jeep plant running with no interruption. It wasn't even my job to write that script. I just saw the potential emergency situation and decided to do something about it. Got my normal 2% salary increase that year. Thanks Excel. I helped raise and take care of my niece and nephew for many years. I decided that I couldn't stay in my mother's religion anymore and left it when I was 19. They were no longer allowed to speak or have anything to do with me after that. For so many years I changed their diapers, fed them, bathed them, cried with them, rocked them to sleep, cleaned up so much vomit, drove them to and from school, took them to work with me on Bring Your Kid to Work Day, watched cartoons, and it was just all taken away in the blink of an eye. I saw them a few years back at my dad's house. He's not in my mother's religion. They hadn't seen me since they were about 6 or 7 years old and they were both getting ready to graduate high school. They barely remembered who I was and didn't say 2 words to me hardly. It breaks my heart to this day to know that they'll never realize how much I love them. I was 18 and on holiday with my girlfriend in Italy. We'd just arrived in Rome having flown in and caught a train to Termini station. We stop in a park not far from the station to take a break and have some food before finding our hostel. We're both quite tired so my girlfriend starts napping in the sun and I'm lounging out too, occasionally shutting my eyes. After enjoying the sun for 20 minutes or so I open my eyes to see a man walking away from us but quite close by. Then think to myself that that's quite strange because I hadn't heard him at all. I look around and immediately realize my girlfriend's handbag is gone. I jump up and run after the man who I now see is wearing a big coat and is clearly in a hurry to leave. I shout after him and manage to catch up before he gets out of the park and grab his arm, spin him around and wrestle the handbag from underneath his coat. He runs off and, not particularly wanting to start the whole thing, I decide to leave it and return to my girlfriend with her handbag containing her passport, mobile phone and holiday money. Amazingly she had slept through the whole event so I woke her up, told her what had just happened and that I had essentially just saved the entire holiday. Her response: nothing. Not a thanks, not even to this day. About 8 years on and several girlfriends later this still annoys me. About 20 years ago my engine company, fire department, went to an arson call. Somebody stuck burning paper inside somebody's apartment door mail slot. The fire didn't take hold and it became more of a police department scene. Just before left the scene, the mentally unstable tenant, who was suspected of the arson, grabbed a rifle and charged past us. He was running toward police that were headed downstairs about a floor below. My captain and I grabbed him and subdued him until the police came back and disarmed him. The police department never thanked us for nor acknowledged our actions that night. I'm sure they were embarrassed that they didn't properly clear and secure the apartment. I doubt it was ever mentioned in any report. And it chaps my ass a bit that it's probably because of pride. But of course I'm glad we were able to help and would definitely do it again. I wrote a paper for our senior year. My partner did nothing, except screwing things up and writing like an infant. We won the award for the best paper at graduation. He was the only one mentioned and got the award because he got 0.5 more points on his oral exam. Edit. The award was a €300 shopping card. I am rather salty. In like 5th or 6th grade my reading class was doing Greek myths and fables like Odysseus and Perseus. We had to choose between like 6 projects. Most kids chose easy ones like read a book, do a cutout or report or glue paper on paper, really easy busy work. I chose one where we had to make a throne for one of the gods. So I spent the entire weekend building a badass throne for Hades. I liked skeletons and edgy stuff. Took me a long time and a bunch of paint, styrofoam and dollar store arts and crafts to make a throne that really expressed what Hades was all about. I then took a skeleton guy from the budget Halloween area and put him on the throne. Presentation time came around. Even though my throne was bomb diggity, I am awkward and got a C on the speaking portion. Whatever, it's the throne that was mainly interested in. I never got the throne back. It was used to display in the library, which is cool and all, but I was never told that, and as far as the random kid knew, it was nameless cause there was never any made by stickers on it. So my hard worked art was shoved on display with no real credit on it for like half the school year, and when I got it back the kids who passed by fucked with it and it was missing bits and pieces and the entire skeleton was gone. Fucking public school got an A on the throne which averaged the grade to a B, but if I just did the easy flip books or whatever it was I would have gotten the same grade because the dumb girl who sat near me got a better grade for trash that took her like 10 minutes to do. Notified my neighbors that their house was on fire, helped them exit, went back in for their 2 dogs, mucho flames at this point, walked across the street to tell my wife I was fine, sat down, walked back over to make sure the neighbors were going to be fine. Police and fire on the scene by this point. Cops told me to leave or be arrested and wouldn't let me get checked out for smoke inhalation. I saved a girl's life once. We were at a concert and there was a giant pond thing to swim in. There was a floating plank thing in the middle that everyone would play King of the Hill on. Anyway, this girl got stuck under it and was drowning, and I was the only one to notice, so I pulled her out. I wonder how she's doing from time to time. When I was just out of high school, my dad was having some alcohol issues. I lived with my boyfriend, was going to college full time, and worked full time. I'd drive the hour to my dad's house to stock his fridge once a week. I paid his utilities for him for almost 2 years. I endured drunken 2 a.m. phone calls during this time. I decided to take a semester off to get ahead on money and didn't go back. After about 2 years of this, my dad got a DUI and quit drinking. Flash forward 10 years. My little brother and sister are 10 and 12 years younger than me and are just beginning college. Our dad pays their tuition, their apartment rent, visits them to take them out to eat, and sends them cash every week, and jokes with me that maybe one of them will get their degree and do something with their lives. My stepfather and mother separated my senior year of college. My mom was really broke and hard up. I took out student loans that year to finish school, and piece by piece gave them to my mom to pay her mortgage. I got a full-time job to try and cover semester costs working third shift at a gas station. The work was killing my grades, but I needed the money to survive as I'd given my mother the loan money. I ended up flunking most of classes, withdrawing from college that year and just working to stay afloat. School called in all the loans to be repaid as I wasn't a student anymore. Kept having to work more and get a better job etc and never got back to school. Mom and sisters give me shit a lot about not finishing school. No one remembers or cares about me bailing my mom out that got me into this path to begin with. My first job in my industry had a strict rule about custom software. We originally had a program written by one of our co-workers called Imagine. It essentially allowed us to do shortcut combos for a program we use instead of having to press buttons. Super handy. However, the company said since it was coded for work, the source code didn't belong to him. He quit, and ever since then, custom programs were strictly forbidden. We had a project come in. I ran the metrics, and it would take us 4 months to complete with 24/7 shifts on it. We were given 2 weeks to get it done. Otherwise, people were at risk of losing their jobs for not meeting a deadline. I went home, coded a program, and came back next morning. I told them we could get it done by the deadline if they allowed me to use my custom program. I designed it to work only in this scenario, so no one could use it for any other purpose. The company reluctantly agreed. I pressed a button, and 24 hours later, the project was complete. Never got paid a penny extra and had no recognition that I completed a 4-month project in 24 hours. Just to at least feel better about myself, I named the program Enigma, which if you rearrange the letters, spells imagine. In college I ran 2 clubs that were part of my department and helped out however I could around campus. They always gave recognition for the things I did to other people. My friend, who was the VP of the clubs, received a reward at our graduation for $5,000 for all the work she did for the clubs and the department. The department also handed out $1,000 rewards to 2 other students for their help around the school and department. The students looked at the professors as the awards were handed out like they were idiots. I smiled and clapped as everyone got an award and excused myself to the bathroom to wash my face, promptly leaving. My friend and several other students found me before graduation and told me they knew all the work I did. So I guess in some way I did get recognition, just not by professors. Also, my professors were convinced I wasn't graduating even though they had filled out the paperwork saying I was. They thought I had at least one more year there. I had also told them about the grad school I had applied to. They were confused when my name got called at graduation.